So let's piece some of these things together. So here, that's our front bracket. There's our axle assembly. There's our back bracket for the platform. And you can see the intent here was, when ready, we're just going to weld right along here. Weld right along here. And weld right along here instead of individual pieces. Just weld just one piece once it's all aligned. So I like that idea. Seems to be working. I think this piece now goes like that. So let me clamp that on and have a discussion. So we designed it. The outside of this frame would be 19. And that's what, from there to there is, right? We'll line it up. But since this warped a bit, it is no longer 19, it is 18 3/4. So now I have to decide to try to bend that somehow with clamps and pipes or whatever to get that to be 19, or do we adjust this to be a total of 18 3/4, and that decision then impacts this here, because this would no longer be 19 either. This would be 18 3/4 if that's what we're going to do. So before I cut this piece, I'll have to decide about this. So this isn't weld sequence, this is fabrication phasing, whatever. So my thought was that I could unbolt that, take this thing, flip it on its back on the welding table, and do all these welds, not this way, but the other way. I could do that one too, and then build a frame and tack it. Or I suppose perhaps I can tack those spots, tack all of it, and then take the whole thing off and flip it, except I can't take, that's just too much to take that off and flip it. So I'm not quite sure. I guess I have to flip the whole cart upside down so I can weld instead of inside and upside down. I'm not sure. Alright, so there's a lot of unknowns there. I'm unsure about if I'm able to bend that axle to get it to 19, which that impacts those. But I do know that this piece is not critical, and I know what I want it to be. So I want that to be 46, and I got some angle. I think I'm going to cut those pieces and put T-notches in the end of them, because that's something that feels like I can do now. So let us answer the question if we can somehow clamp this and weld the frame on top and get rid of the bow. So we have clamped this to the table. Now, do we bend the table? I don't think so, but maybe. And survey says we're now like an 1/8 of an inch instead of a 1/4 of an inch. It was 18 3/4 without it clamped. So we still did not get all the way to 19 inches. So if we made the frame on the top to a width of outside dimension of 19, it still would not fit. It's only a 1/16 on each side, but you just say fit, and we'll leave it at 18 3/4 and just adjust the top frame to be 18 3/4 wide instead of 19. Alright, just a little thought here as I not welding sequence, which I guess is sequence of welds to prevent stresses and warping, but fabrication assembly sequencing. Yeah, like if I build this whole thing in the basement, get it all welded together onto the main channel, how the hell do we get it out of here? Let's have a look. What's our options? That's a 36-inch wide door that goes into the garage, but that won't fit through there. And this is our stairs. And a quick turn to go outside, which even if it would fit, I would need someone to help carry me that. And my wife has back problems, my brother's in the hospital, my kids are very busy with their life, so I'm thinking that the final welds to the, at least to the main frame, are going to be outside. So I don't know how all that impacts how much, like I'm almost thinking I have to weld the top frame, and then this piece goes underneath, that piece is on top. Maybe I could get those welded on too, and then slide the channel in there in the garage. Yeah, so I guess that's going to impact what happens next. Right, so, don't mind all the clamps. I believe we are at 18 3/4, and that's kind of because it's not 19. There's a bow from Weldon, so we made this one then 18 3/4, which then means that, let's do the outside, right? So this will be 18 3/4, and I need to cut, it's going to be an inside piece, so it should be 16 3/4. So that's what we'll cut, piece of angle 16 3/4, because that sits out here. We'll go between those two. This piece on the end is non-critical. It's just to pick up load at the edges, the back and the edges. Alright, so we need to review the plan of field here. Look, I put a square here. Look how much that's off. What's F? I mean, this part's going to be fixed, so I guess it's going to mean these have to slide over a bit, but I measured them. That's like lined up. I don't know, something's a bit off. That's not just a little bit off, that's quite a bit off. Further review needed. Alright, so that's looking a little bit squarer. And to do that, we moved this just a little bit this way. It's not totally lined up right in the middle of that bar anymore. So what does that mean? I don't know. Alright, so you can kind of see I have I used a sanding disc and a grinding disc, and I have prepped all the spots that I'm going to need to weld. And I'm going to do the other one and that piece. I think I'm going to put that on the table in there and weld it square and flat and square, tack weld. Put it back on here, see how good I'm doing, and then maybe do that, and then I gotta make the cross braces in here. But first I want to get a square frame tacked, and then I think I'm going to cut the pieces and tack the cross bracing, make sure it all fits before I go heavy duty welding. That's the plan. So I got to clean up those two pieces, prep them. Then it's gonna be late and it's gonna snow. We got our boop, boop, warnings, heavy lake effect snow and life-threatening cold. Man, who makes this stuff up? I don't know. Okay, so we got that piece cleaned up and that piece cleaned up and ground and that piece cleaned up. So that's what we're going to do. I think is going to take 1, 2, 3 onto the table, upside down, put it in a flat plane, make it square, and put some tacks, and then bring it back here and see what I think. That'll be tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday or probably not till Thursday. Tomorrow we're doing Chick-fil-A with the grandkids. Tuesday I got a stress test. Wednesday we watch grandkids. So I guess that's going to sit for a little bit.